Welcome to our first workshop in the January intake. Basically, we are going to be looking at marriage, separation, and dissolution of marriage. So, the learning aims of the workshop are to develop ability to advise on the existence of marriage, separation, and dissolution of marriage. So, you have to understand the different types of marriages we have in Uganda, to include customary marriage, civil marriage, church marriage, as well as Islamic marriage. Develop the ability to determine the existence of a marriage. Yes, so what are the essentials of a valid marriage? You have to know the features of each marriage, so as you can be in position to advise on the features of a valid marriage. Then three, develop ability to determine the grounds for separation and dissolution of marriage. So basically, when we talk about separation, is having a break in the marriage. You are not the marriage is not specifically coming to an end, but you are saying that you need a break. Then we shall look at the dissolution of marriage and how a marriage can be dissolved. And when we talk about dissolution of marriage, we are looking at desertion, cruelty, and adultery. Then recognize issues relating to determination of existence of marriage, separation, and dissolution of marriage. So, scoops of this week's work: types of marriages recognized in Uganda, the formalities and essentials requirements of each types of marriage, void and voidable marriages. So we say that a void marriage is the one which is invalid ab initio or at the very beginning. Then we talked about voidable marriages, which can be repudiated by the affected party. Then we look at the difference between a void and voidable marriages, the grounds upon which a marriage will be declared nullity. So nullification of marriage arises when there is a void marriage, when there is an illegal marriage at the very beginning, then it can be nullified. For example, if you married someone who was under subsisting monogamous marriage, for example, church marriage, then that marriage is void and it can be nullified. Then we shall look at separation, separation by agreement. Yes, separation can be by agreement, and also judicial separation, which can be by court. You petition court, and then you get judicial separation. We shall look at custody of children, separation, and issues of property. Dissolution of marriage, dissolution of each type of marriage, recognized under the laws of Uganda, matrimonial property, and custody of the children, drawing the necessary legal documents and resultant court orders. So basically, here we shall be looking at drafting a separation agreement. We shall be looking at petition for nullification of marriage, and also petition for judicial separation. Then presenting and proceeding a petition for declaring a marriage null, and a petition for dissolution of marriage and extracting the relevant court orders. Then we shall also look at alternative dispute resolution of matrimonial causes. So students are advised to read and make notes on the following: domicile, meaning, types, and relevance. So basically, domicile is a place where a person permanently resides, and we have different types of domicile. One, domicile by birth, domicile by marriage, and domicile by choice. So the relevance is in a petition for divorce, you must plead your domicile, that you are domiciled within the jurisdiction of court. So we talked about void and voidable marriages, and said the void marriage is invalid at the very beginning, whereas voidable marriages basically they can be repudiated by an affected party. So we talked about consummation of marriages, and we're saying that consummation just means sexual intercourse in a marriage. Then the legal implications of marriages. Of course, marriage has a lot of legal implication to wit, consummation, secondly, children, thirdly, matrimonial property, and also children. Then the rights and duties of married people. Of course, you have the right to have sexual intercourse, you have a right to matrimonial property, right to spousal consent, and also right to use your spouse's name. Rights and duties of married people. Then effects and implications of suspension of conjugal rights. So under which circumstances can conjugal rights be suspended in marriage. If you have read the case of Uganda versus Iga Hamida, they discussed conjugal rights, and I see that conjugal rights in marriage can only be postponed when there are exceptional circumstances. For example, maybe disease. Then the other thing we shall look at is a procedure for obtaining special license for purposes of celebrating marriage under the Marriage Act. So we shall look at how do you apply for special license in case you want to celebrate your marriage at the beach, how to obtain a license for place of worship, and how do you apply to get a place of worship in case you want to establish a church. So these ones are all established under the Marriage Act. We shall look at the reliefs and orders which can be awarded in matrimonial proceedings. Of course, there are custody orders, separation orders, maintenance orders, and also matrimonial property orders. So grounds for divorce, absolute and discretionary bars to divorce. So the grounds for divorce, we have coercion. Grounds for divorce, we have desertion, cruelty, and adultery. Then absolute and discretionary bars to divorce. Of course, absolute, we have decree nisi. We shall look at the decree nisi. We shall look at decree absolute. The decree nisi, which occurs always 6 months before the pronunciation of the divorce, and then after 6 months, if the parties have not opted to reconcile, we have what we call a decree absolute. Then we have the discretionary bars to divorce, which include condonation, coercion, and connivance. Basically, you cannot agree with your party to divorce. Then shall look at Hindu marriages governed by the Hindu Marriages Act, customary marriages governed by the Customary Marriages Act, as well as the Islamic marriages. So let us now go to our workshop. Workshop 1. By the end of this workshop, you should be able to determine the existence of a marriage, draft various legal documents relating to nullity of marriage, present and prosecute a petition for notification of marriage, recognize and deal with ESCO issues in determining the existence of a marriage. So assume that you are a legal assistant with MC Atwin and company advocates Dundhouse Mkono Miss Twin assigned you the matters whose facts are summarized in parts 1 and 3 above. So in 1996, Jonah Cindy met and fell in love with Jenna Kansime. He paid all the blind price which her parents asked for. They subsequently cohabited at Nakwero, Gayaza, but were not blessed with any child. So on the look of this relationship, that means there was a valid customary marriage. In June 2004, John Simbi left his home at Nakwero for work and not return. In June 2004, John started living with Catherine Adeke. In December 2005, John and Catherine were blessed with twins. In 2005, Jonah and Catherine were blessed with a second pair of twins. So basically here, Jonah and Catherine were cohabiting because we don't see any valid marriage here. John for work and not return. In June, John started living with. So this is a cohabitation. There is no valid marriage in here. Then in 2007, Jonah was convinced that Catherine's church, Redeemed of the Lord Church, Boise, was indeed a miracle worker. Jonah got saved, and on 21st 12th, Pastor Yutwa wedded Jonah and Catherine at a mass wedding at Redeemed of the Lord Church, Boise. So now Jonah and Catherine goes into church marriage. So now we shall have to determine the validity of the first marriage. Now whether the first customary marriage was valid. And yes, so Pastor Wayinzi Kayitwa founded the Redeemed of the Lord Church, Boise, on force after serving his 10-year custodial sentence in Zura prison. This church was housed in a tent. Jonah and Catherine took their vows in this tent in January. So it seems from the look of this that there was no unauthorized place for conducting a valid church marriage. That's what we shall continue to look in detail. So Pastor Binzika, you two have founded the Redeemed of Lord Church Boise after serving the 10-year custodial sentence in Zura prison. This church was housed in a tent. So in January 2017, Jenna met Jamada while she was working at MC Riziki Industries in Mukono Industrial Area, Kampala City. She converted to Islam. Jenna met Jamada. So we have Jenna. Jenna was the first one in the customary marriage. And yes, this customary marriage, on the look of it was what? It was varied. So Jenna met Jamada while she was working at MC Riziki. Assumed the name of Jamila. Luckily, she convinced Jamada to marry her before the registrar of marriages at Kampala, and Jamada did so. These ones went into what we call a civil marriage. So remember, also civil marriage is also monogamous, so we shall have to determine still whether the first customary marriage was valid. So in December 2017, Jamada had to travel to Saudi Arabia, where he had secured a well-paying job. The relevant embassy required Jamada to prove that he was validly married under Islam. The embassy did not recognize his marriage to Jamila. In December 2017, Jamila married Jenna at her parents' home at Chiburi, Mutanjaza zone, in accordance with the principles of Islam. So if you have a valid civil marriage, that means this Islamic marriage can't be valid. There are some principles you have to understand in order to resolve these different types of marriages. First and foremost, civil marriage and church marriage. Civil marriage and church marriage are basically monogamous, whereas a customary marriage is polygamous. So that basically means when you have a valid church marriage or valid civil marriage, then you cannot have any other valid marriage. So that's what we shall continue to interrogate. So Catherine Adeke is very unhappy and frustrated because Jonah no longer prays or goes to church. In fact, Jonah has an affair with Daisy, a student of Makerere University, and he no longer adequately provides for her or their twins. Jonah deserted her and the children in 2020. So we have Catherine Adeke. Catherine Adeke comes in 2007. Jonah was convinced at Catherine's church. First and foremost, this church looks to be not authorized to conduct a valid marriage. And here we see is deserting. Catherine is still steadfast in her faith and would like to get married to John Mutumbuzi, a true born-again Christian. Catherine and John Mutumbuzi desire to solemnize their marriage at St. Augustine Chapel, Makerere University. However, Catherine is anxious about the marriage certificate which the Redeemed of Church by issued to them. Jonah and Catherine, she is also deeply troubled over Jenna, a woman she did not know. She's also over Jenna, a woman she did not know about until just recently. So we have Jenna. Jenna also comes in the first customary marriage. So first and foremost, we are going to rule that because the first customary marriage is valid, the first customary marriage is valid and there is no divorce. So secondly, advise on the legal status of each of these relationships. So you have to advise on each of those relationships like the way we talked about. Then advise Catherine on the legality of her intended marriage to John Mutembuzi. So first and foremost, we see this one is in a church marriage. But this church marriage has a lot of issues. First and foremost, there was a subsisting customary marriage with the first one, John Simbi and Jen Kansime. So, and also the church they got the marriage seems to not have been licensed. So if you view is that she can contract a valid marriage with John Mutembuzi, explain her practical steps which she would take in order to do so. So basically here she's going to do what we call nullification of the first marriage, because first and foremost there is the customary marriage. There's an existing customary marriage with Jenna, but also secondly the church where they seem to have married seem not to have been licensed. So those are the things you go to, and the necessary document would be to draft a petition for the nullification of those marriages. So part 2, Mr. Twine's regular clients Paulo Musime and Serena Nasimur Hanga wish to get married before They leave Uganda on 21st January 2025. They would like to get married at their parochial residence at Entebbe. Their home commands a very beautiful view of Tembo Beach and Lake Victoria. They also want Pastor Muiga, founder of Holy Trinity Church, to officiate over their wedding ceremony. Pastor Muiga founded the Holy Trinity Church 4 months ago. The church is housed in a tent. Regal union. So whether Paul Mingan can, so basically when you look at the Marriage Act, they provide you for the procedure if you want to conduct your marriage not in a different place. So basically what you do is you have to apply for a special license from the minister, and we have to look at the Marriage Act. Then how Holy Trinity can attend self-license place. So we have also continue and then look at how can we get this Holy Trust to obtain a license. Basically what it does, it just applies also for a license, and the process is under the Marriage Act. You have to look at the Marriage Act. So part B, Madina Asimwe and Isma Makanda are also Miss Atwine's devoted clients. Both of them are Muslims. Madina Asimwe has convinced Isma Makanda that they should conduct a civil marriage before the Register of Marriages. Miss Atwine has requested you for a legal opinion on whether Madina Asimwe and Isma Makanda can conduct valid marriage before the Register of Marriages, and if so, what are the legal requirements? Outline the contents of the documents which an advocate will be required to prepare for Madina and Isma. So basically here, yes, they can have a valid registrar or civil marriage before the registrar, but basically here what we have to see is there must be a notice, I think a notice for 21 days, and this is one of the notices. So there must be the notice between the marriage of these people, but then of course you have to meet other requirements of a valid marriage to include age, consent, and also notice. But you have to look at the Marriage Act. It provides for more essentials that must be satisfied for you to conduct a civil marriage or the marriage before the registrar. But you don't need to have any religion, so you can just agree and the registrar will wed you. It's not a matter of you being religious. So part 3, Simon Kisoro and Jennifer Naku Kisoro wedded at Namirembe Cathedral in 1976. All their children are married. Simon is due to wed Alice Katono at St. Andrew's Church, Katime Masaka District on 15th January 2025. Simon is very happy over the fact that the children whom Alice gave birth to are all very successful engineers, and while living with Alice, Simon must go to Wales, which was not the case when he lived with Jennifer. Alice, on the other hand, has always dreamed of a glamorous wedding ceremony. Jennifer is the national chairperson of Mothers Union and a practicing Christian who does not want to suffer embarrassment before her fellow Christians. Her children, grandchildren, daughters-in-law, and sons-in-law are members of the Mothers Unions. So here we see Simon Kisoro and Jennifer Naku Kisoro wedded at Namirembe Cathedral. All their children are married. Simon is due to wed Alice Katono. Simon is due to wed Alice Katono at St. Andrew's Church, Chitem Masaka District on 15th January 2025. Simon is very happy over the fact that the children whom Alice gave birth to are all very successful engineers, and while living with Alice, Simon must progress to Wales, which was not the case when he lived with Jennifer. Alice, on the other hand, has always dreamed of a glamorous wedding ceremony. Jennifer is the national chairperson of Mothers Unions and a practicing Christian who does not want to suffer embarrassment before her fellow Christians. Her children, grandchildren, daughters-in-law, and sons-in-law are members of Mothers Unions. What remedies are available to Jennifer and draft the relevant legal documents? So basically here we see Simon Kisoro and Jennifer Kisoro, who wedded at Namirembe Cathedral Church in 1976. And all their children are married. Simon is due to wed Alice Katono at St. Andrew's Church, Tim Mathaka District on 15th January. Simon is very happy over the fact that the children whom Alice gave birth to are all very successful engineers. So basically, Jennifer has to write to the church to basically stop the bans in case they have they have done what? They have issued bans. So basically here the documents is a letter to the church to stop bans or not to conduct this wedding because she's already married. There's already existing marriage, so the essence is to stop that marriage. And also you can look at lodging a caveat to the marriage, but a caveat only applies to civil marriages. So basically the most appropriate option here is to basically do what? Is to stop the bans, write to the church and stop the marriage. So that's it. In case you want mentorship, you can come to our group. We really have good mentorship. We conduct online discussions on Saturday as well as Sunday, and then we give notes to our students before the discussion. So in case you can afford an investment, a monthly subscription fee, you can reach up to me on the number on this YouTube, and then we shall add you in that platform. It covers all campuses because it's basically online. But in case you cannot afford, I understand that, then please, this YouTube is going to be very, very important to you. So let us proceed to workshop 2. By the end of the workshop, students should be able to 1. Identify grounds for separation, identify grounds for dissolution of marriage, advise on the rights of spouses in the event of separation or divorce regarding custody of children and property, draft the various legal documents relating to separation and dissolution of marriage, prosecute a petition for judicial separation on the one hand and a petition for dissolution of marriage on the other, organize and deal with ESCO issues. So basically when we talk about grounds for separation, they include adultery, desertion as well as cruelty. So, but then dissolution of marriage, there are the same grounds for separation as well as for dissolution. So let us continue, and basically we look at matrimonial property. Matrimonial property has been discussed in the case of Judas Rwabunumi versus Hope Bahimsomwe, where the court stated that parties are free to own property, but also the home where they both stay will be referred to matrimonial home, and then but parties can still buy their individual properties when they are still in a subsisting marriage. So please read that decision of Hope by Bahimsomwe. You will understand the matrimonial property, the royal thing to matrimonial property. Facts. Anthony Zimbe married Maria at St. Francis Chapel, Makerere University. They are blessed with 2 children, Asan Zibe and Lilian Kwagala, aged 10 and 8 respectively. After their wedding, they lived together at Chikoni, Makerere West and at Makerere Kavule before they settled at Nakwero, Gayaza in Waxo district in a house which Anthony Zimbe built in 2014 without any monetary contribution from Miria. Anthony bought the land on which this house is. In 2016, Miria asked Anthony to buy a baby coat and instructed Anthony not to return home without it. Anthony did not find the money to buy the baby coat that day, and when he returned home without it, Maria quarreled for a long time, and because Anthony did not react, she slapped Anthony. So here we are already seeing cruelty. The maid was watching this. She insulted him in front of the maid on very many occasions. In 2014, Maria locked Anthony out of the house, and he had to spend the night in one of the rooms in the servants' quarters. On another occasion, she locked him out their bedroom, and he slept in the sitting room for 3 nights. On another occasion, he slept in his car because Maria had locked the house and kept all the keys. The next day, he slept at his friend's home. When he failed to lend her money in 2018, she insulted and provoked him for 3 days. On the first day, she quarreled and picked a knife and charged at Anthony, but he resisted her and was able to take away the knife from her, but it cut his wrist. Anthony reported the matter to police. When Anthony's employers transferred him to Tanzania, Joel would spend several days at their home. The maid, Antha, and Leon called him Uncle Joel. So this is adultery. In August 2019, Anthony's neighbor called him and told him about a man who frequented their home and went out with their Anthony's wife and returned with her to their home deep in the night. Joel and Maria used to sleep in their bedroom. Asa and Ryan talked to Anthony's about Uncles Joel, who stayed at their home and slept in Mommy's and Daddy's bedroom. Anthony returned home in June 2022 without notice, and he found Joel in his house. He hid in the ceiling, where he was found after a search of their house with the aid of police officers. Both Maria and Joel were arrested, but Maria was released. Joel's wife, Tabitha Takwana, was shocked to find out that her husband was in prison. He had told her that he had traveled to Sinjiro, where his employers had transferred him. In June 22, when Maria was released by police, she left their home with Arthur and Lian and took them to her friend's home at Buebaja and left them there. After 2 weeks, Maria's friend Nina Betone called Anthony and informed him that the children were sick and she had heard from their mother since she left her with the children. Anthony picked Arthur and Lian and has been living with them. Maria's lives with Joel at Najanankundi and Tebe Road. In 2019, Anthony bought 10 acres of land. This land is registered in the names of their children, Asa and Lillian. In 2013, Anthony bought 1 acre of land at Nangabo Kasangat and constructed the modern child daycare center. This land is registered in Anthony Zimbe's name. Anthony would like to marry Mariaka Tendo, and he does not want Maria to lay any claim on his property to see their children ever again. The security guard who guards his residence is under strict instruction level to allow Maria access to his home. Anthony requested the headmaster and teachers to Bright Stars Junior School, Kasangati, where these children study, never to let their mother access them. Anthony desires to marry Mariaka, in whom he has found true love and happiness. So here you see Anthony has a lot of grounds for petitioning divorce. One is cruelty, secondly is adultery. So he can proceed and then petition for divorce. If you consider court action necessary, so it's a petition for divorce. Remember, we have a church marriage, you are petitioning to divorce it. Then the ISCO issues, of course, the best interest principle of the child, not overcharging your client, conducting proper due diligence. Those are some of the ISCO issues. Then part B, in 2012, I got married to Moses Karuba at St. Augustine Chapel, Makerere University. We have no child. In 2018, my husband and I raised 50 million each, and we bought half an acre of land, which is now registered in the names of Moses Kuruba and Zabuku Labako, which is now registered. We further poured money and built a modern 6-bedroom house on this plot of land. This is our home. In 2022, we also put money in equal portion and bought another plot of land adjacent to our house and built a guest house, which I manage. We lived very happily until 1st 8, 2024, when my husband told me that he had lost his faith in God over the fact that he had not been blessed us with children. And we had a relationship with his personal secretary, who had given birth to twins, a boy and a girl. He further told me that these twins are now 3 years old and that they live with their maternal grandmother. He also told me that the mother of these twins died. He also asked me to forgive him and to accept the twins. I was devastated the day I left out home, and I have been with my sister, my husband, and never been rude and kind to me. He had never slept away from home and always returned home. I have not come to terms with his behavior. Although I'm still hurting, I love my husband. What option would you advise? So here they go for what we call a separation agreement, because you can see he still loves his husband. So you go for a separation agreement. Further information, who will have custody of the children, who will take the customary, who will take the matrimonial home, will there be, how will you meet and see each other. So basically you are looking at separation agreement and what is important for you to draft it. So draft the necessary agreement for each of the options. That is the separation agreement. If you are the advocate engaged in this couple, what are the issues? The best interest principle, remember, you have to make sure that all the things your decisions you make are in the interest of the child. You must make proper due diligence and non-disclosure. See, in July 2011, Muhammad Ntaro married Jowaria at Chiburu Mosque. They have no child after their marriage ceremony. They lived together and rented a 3-bedroom house. In 2012, Muhammad was seriously injured when his car collided with a trailer. In 2013, Muhammad's bakery caught fire and it was completely destroyed. In 2014, he was attacked by robbers who stole shillings for him. In 2014, he told Jowaria that she was the cause of bad luck in his life and that he regretted having married her. He then left Jowaria and has never returned to their home at Namasuba or talked to her or sent her any money or food. Muhammad lives with Viola Makula. Muhammad and Vera are blessed with twins. Jowaria is frustrated over as he would like to get married to Mustafa Send. Advise Jowaria on types of divorces recognized under Islam. So we have very many divorces: Kula, Fasik, and Talak. So those are the types of divorces: one by court, one by woman, and by both parties. So those are the types of divorces we'll be looking at. What remedies are available to Jowaria so you can petition for divorce. Part D. In 2018, Andrew Gwedeko married Jane Makisa in accordance with the customs of the Uganda. Jane works with Uganda Diplomatic Mission in Dubai and travels widely and very often. In 2018, Andrew lived with Jane in Dubai and returned to Uganda in May 2019 on the grounds that as the heir of his late father and administrator of his estate, he had very urgent and important matters to attend to. When Jane returned to their home at Masori Gayaza in December 2020, she found out that Andrew had left their home in August 2019. Jane bought the land at Masori Gayaza and started constructing the house in this land before married her. Jane recorded that she sent Andrew tickets on 2 occasions in 2019, but Andrew did not visit her as she requested. Andrew has been living in Chokhire at Kayanja, Ginger Road since August 2020, and they have 2-year-old called Shu. Jane is very proud and will not talk to Andrew. She's more than ready to move on with her life. She considers herself very lucky and they have no child. So basically here you can remedies, you petition for divorce of the customary marriage and do the relevant document is basically, because here what we have is in 2018 Andrew married Jane Makisa in accordance with the customs of the Uganda. Jane works with Uganda's diplomatic mission in Dubai and travels widely and very often. Andrew lived with Jane in Dubai and returned to Uganda in May 2020 on the grounds that as their heir of his late father and administrator of his estate, he had very urgent and important matters to attend to. When Jane returned to their home at Musori Gayaza in December, she found out that Andrew had left their home in August 2019. Jane bought the land at Musori and started constructing the house in his land. So basically here you can petition for divorce for the customary marriage on grounds of adultery. So that basically would be the appropriate remedy, petitioning for divorce, because she's happy to move on. So basically that is it for this workshop. I really wish you success in your preparation. Please, in case you want to have our mentorship, members pay 100,000 per month to help us in our research by acts and also get data. But it's going to be very, very important because we give you adequate notes. You get to hear from different comments from different PAs in different farm rooms, and then you get good notes. So please, if you can't afford it, I understand that. You can do it from this YouTube together with your friends, but we'd be glad if you join because we are going to add value to you. Have a blessed day.